Hey VC. So I just want to do a quick little like a tribute type video for those of us in the metal world. If you're into this band or whatever, have heard recently on the 22nd that Eric Wagner passed away of pneumonia in the hospital. They say it was COVID-related pneumonia, but they had been on tour with the Obsessed and canceled the tour due to the just everything going on recently, and then I guess he got sick and went in the hospital with pneumonia and passed away on the 22nd. Now, Eric Wagner, for those who don't know, which you probably do if you're watching this, but if you don't, he was the longtime singer for Trouble, one of the early American doom bands of the day. That's where most of us discovered him. His later work, the most recent work that he did, at least that I'm aware of recording-wise, is with The Skull. And these are albums I just recently have shown, just like this year, because I finally picked all these things up on vinyl. And so The Skull, this was a 2018 release, was the band he was with. He's done a couple in between. There was also a 2014 release, the first one by The Skull. And there were two albums around the same time in the 2014 and 2017 in between this era with Blackfinger, which the vinyl is very hard to get, so I don't have those. But another very similar style, I think, but just different musicians and, probably a little different vibe. This is real, hearkening to the whole Days of Trouble. The Skull actually, being from a Trouble album, which I'll show, is kind of a shoot-off project where he's doing a lot of the similar stuff, but with, a new band. Trouble went on with the new singer, but like I say, most of us learned about him from the original self-titled Trouble album, which has, basically now called Psalm 9. Back in the early days, Trouble were always... they were always kind of categorized in the white metal realm just because their lyrics deal with a lot of biblical themes. The band never, Eric, the band, never came out or claimed to be, of a Christian persuasion per se. Later on, members of the band did, individuals of the band, but the band itself was never officially ever labeled a Christian band. But they have songs about, this is Golgotha, Tree of the Hill. You can see there's like a little Jesus image on the tree. You got the skull, the hill of the skull, Golgotha, all of that idea. You've got stories. The stories in here are everywhere from mythology to kind of a biblical theme. So and you can they just had that. It was just kind of their thing. Their lyrics were fairly positive, look to the light type stuff. Pray for the Dead. This is their second album, The Skull, which is where the band name came from. And you had songs on here like Pray for the Dead. Just, again, more biblical type themes. Most all of these have been reissued in the past, year on vinyl. They were really hard to find originally, so I have been picking all of those up. Run to the Light, of course, very Christian sounding. But anyway, great album. So, we don't do that. This is one of the ones that just got reissued. The actual self-titled, the fourth album, one of the hardest ones, most expensive ones to find original copies of on vinyl. And these have been reissued. And thankfully, this one and the Manic Frustration. Just two great albums. They, finally, recently were reissued. Plastic Greenhead I've had for a while. It was reissued a handful of years ago, but I'm thinking... there's been multiple reissues of this, and there's actually been, I think, a newer one of this too. This is actually, I think, one of the older ones, and not the newest one that just came out. And then the last time he did with Trouble was Simple Mind Condition. And then he left again, and he came back to Trouble after a while away, and then he left again, and then he, did the Skull and the Blackfinger and all that stuff and all of that. So, anyway, yes, supposedly, people with underlying conditions, he has a history of drug issues, I guess, that they say back in the day. So he probably had a system that was compromised already, and so pneumonia, things like that can take it out. But it's very sad. Have enjoyed his music since the early 80s with Trouble. He's got a very distinctive voice, one of my favorite doom vocalists, and it's just really sad to see people like this pass. It's sad for anybody to pass, but anyway, somebody near and dear to your heart, especially, like I say, just recently, in the past less than a year, accumulated a bunch of the Trouble stuff on vinyl, and getting into that, investing in that whole situation. So anyway, just wanted to say that if you're not aware, there you go. August 22nd, he passed away, 62 years old. Anyway, I'll be back. Got some new stuff in. Thanks for watching. rock on and rock hard.